Going on, everybody? So today I'm going to be reviewing Motocross, a film from 2001. And what's interesting about this, the period when this movie came out, is that around 2001, even like the late 90s, Disney was capitalizing on a lot of sports movies, from basketball to motocross to inline skating to high school wrestling. I mean, the list just goes on and on. Even, sports films based on true stories, which is one of the basketball films they did. So, they were capitalizing on this type of stuff because at least during that time, the X Games were big. So I thought it was pretty cool. And then, of course, the high school wrestling is not something we see portrayed in movies, at least during that time. There's more films that have come out over the years in the past, few years or so. So it's nice to see that get a little bit more of an exposure. But with this movie, we have Andrew, who is practicing for a motocross race that he's competing in. And his sister helps him, his dad's training him. They live on this farm, and on that farm they have this dirt bike motocross type of track that they use. And well, during the practice, Andrew is hurt, and he ends up getting a leg injury that will pretty much have him miss this competition. So Andrea has the idea to take his place. Her father is completely against it, and she's frustrated, and she decides to make the choice to compete and pretend she's her brother. So what she does is she cuts her hair, starts dressing like him, calls herself Andy, so that way he could still be in the competition, but it just won't be him, it'll be her. So she decides to, of course, compete with the help of her brothers and her mom. And throughout the film, they finally make it to the competition, and she's doing absolutely well. She's knocking out the rounds. Eventually, her father shows up. Her father comes back after a business trip, and he's completely against it, but then starts to really open up and notice that she is good. And of course, throughout this film, we have a love interest that Andy meets. Of course, Andy can't tell him that, she's a woman. She has to still continue to be her brother. Now, Riley Smith, the actor Riley Smith, you guys will recognize him in a lot of things. He was in the short-lived TV adaptation of Frequency. He was in Nancy Drew, which ended its run. So he's been in a lot of things. He's, a familiar face, and he plays Dean. Dean, of course, is the love interest. And then eventually she is caught, but she doesn't get she doesn't get in trouble or anything like that, because under the rule books, it never stated that any girl couldn't compete. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's a fun movie. It's one of many sports films that we got during that time. It's pretty enjoyable. There's not a whole lot to expect on this one. Some of the acting can be cheesy, I will state that, but all in all, it's just a fun movie. The plot's not that bad. I mean, it's kind of cliche, because if you think about it, there's been other movies similar to that. I mean, let's be honest, She's the Man has the same type of plot. But of course, Motocross came out before that, so the plot has been used in other movies. So it's not anything amazing, you know what to kind of expect. But I like the fact that it's different, it bases on motocross, something that you don't see often. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, the parents are familiar. They've been in other things, so you will recognize them right away. I believe the mom is, I think the mom plays Dawson's mom in Dawson's Creek. Do not quote me on that, but from what I saw on the IMDb page, it shows that she was in Dawson's Creek, so I do believe that's her. So, yeah, like I said, some familiar faces. Came out in 2001, so we had some pretty good films come out in 2001, at least in my opinion. I mean, we had Motorcrossed, and I think, what was it, Halloween Town 2 came out that same year, I believe. So, yeah, all in all, we had some pretty decent releases during that time. The chemistry is there to an extent. at times, you can feel that chemistry between them, but at other times it's just like it's not there. I mean, it's gonna have its flaws, but nonetheless, it's still enjoyable. One of the things I find entertaining is that Andrea will paint her nails. So when there's a race going on, she was questioned why. Hey, why do you do that? And she, because she's pretending to be her brother, she would be like, oh yeah, it's kind of a something that's good luck. People have their rabbit feet and things like that. Well, I paint my nails. So it's funny because when she's doing the races, she noticed all the other contestants that she's competing against have their nails painted. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I wish I could say more about this movie. It's kind of self-explanatory when it comes to its plot. I mean, there's not much to say about it. But if you've seen this one, let me know what your thoughts are. I would love to hear your opinion on it. And if you haven't seen it in quite some time, then I would recommend you guys go revisit the film. Definitely worth a rewatch in my opinion. So with that being said, I am Film Talk with Mikey, and until next time, guys, we'll talk films. Peace.